So this is a sequel video on part of the leaking ductwork that was caused by humidity and the respiration of this building. And yes, I use the word respiration because building and houses, structures, are like living, breathing beings. So in this situation on this unit here, they've had roofers come out twice looking for the leaks, why water was coming downstairs, but actually the majority of it actually wasn't from physical leak, tar paper on the ducting, because it was a roofer. I just came back and resealed everything. These are like 20 plus years old. They were trying to take care of it and was still leaking. The majority of it was, these units aren't used anymore. They're totally inoperative. They're not going to be used in the situation they're using here, so they don't need to be used. So what's happening is the building is respirating. It's exhaling out and it's inhaling. As you have air pass over a building, you literally could make a negative pressure going over the roof of the building. Plus you have these right here, and these are exhausting your building, making it slightly negative pressure, and you pull air from in the building out. And that's the whole idea, especially when you have garages or you have manufacturing going on and you need to do that. Hot summer days, just under this roof it gets to 120, 127 degrees. We're in San Francisco, so other places get 140. So the building is negative. But the problem with this building too is we had this respiration problem going back and forth, and in the winter it would condensate on the inside of the ducting and literally turn back in liquid water, and it would pour back down here. The way they have this ducting installed, I don't know if you could catch it with the camera, but it's tilted backwards. So the ducting is tilted back this way. So if there is a leak right here, say, it goes inside, because there's a hole right here and there's a hole in the other one, and the water would hit down here and it would all pour backwards. Okay, so that's one thing, any little leaks. But the other thing, they had another leak, was in my last video scene, there was respirating water, a high moisture content air from inside the building that was like 80 degrees, 80% humidity. We're in San Francisco and we've been hitting the 30s at nighttime, and in the warehouse was even getting cold. So all the sheet metal was getting cold and condensating, literally saturating. They have 1-inch fiberglass batt insulation on the inside of all this ductwork. It was soaked with water and dripping back down through the leaks in the ducting on top of the roofs downstairs, in the rooms downstairs. So I capped those to stop the respiration there, and I'm going to cap this off over here because this is not going to be used. We don't want no transition of air going back and forth and condensating in the water and pouring back down. Now, I'm not going to go through all the trouble to tilt this in the other direction. Just make sure there is no leaks here. Now, here's the catcher. You install these, you're a company, and you install this. This is your job. You're an HVAC guy, you're an air movement, you're an air balancing guy, and somebody hires you to throw something like this, 2 of them, 3 of them, okay? How much air is that you're pulling out of this building? This building goes super, super negative on the airflow. Now, not only that, you could get it to the point where you added these on after these. You literally pull air back down inside these when you go super negative, when all 3 of these would be on. It's a good thing that they locate them far enough away, because this would now become a fresh air intake, and if you have toxic fumes that are coming out, this would be an exhaust. And when the air flows this way, so if you had toxic fumes, it comes out and it goes over and it gets sucked right back into the building. But you know, codes allow a certain amount of distance and stuff like that. Yeah, they thought of it. It would be nicer if they threw it a little bit more, because actually in this area where this is located, 360 days of the year, the air does mostly go in this direction. Now, coming back here over on the other side of the building, way over there, is the office. And the office has a gas-fired burner in it. The old-fashioned looking kind of stove, but it's using gas. It's modern day, no wood, but it's meant to look like a gas furnace. A fireplace. So it burns that nice, warm, infrared yellow. Now, this is a thing about gas. The color of your flame will determine whether it burns efficient. And here we go. This is our exhaust right here. So this is the exhaust for this building that becomes negative when those fans would come on, or when the natural draft fans, right, when those I can't even say, I got glare. So when the natural draft fans come on, the building becomes negative because it gets hot inside up on the roof, even though it could be cold on the ground floor because it's 24 feet, and overnight the office becomes cold. These are still exiting, making the building negative. This literally pulls backwards. So when I was coming to this business and I would enter the front door in the office, I get hit with this heat. But what I also notice is the amount of water in the air. It's like 80 or 90% humidity in that room, and that's why they were feeling warm, because instead of all the exhaust coming out of here and fluing up after it got hot, it was literally going back in, and he's sitting there at his computer doing work, all nice, warm, and cozy. Now, for you guys who know about exhaust, he's nice, warm, and cozy, but what is he breathing? Carbon monoxide. Because these fireplaces have that nice yellow glow, that's not an efficient burn, there's a higher rate of carbon monoxide, so they look pretty and they give more of an infrared heat. It's like really, really old furnaces. Some of them. I learned this from an older guy. Was on some of them, they didn't supposedly rely on that beautiful blue high efficient flame to make heat in direct contact. They relied on a more orange flame that had a higher infrared, less efficient but more radiant heat to contact the sides of the walls of the furnace to make heat. And since going back almost 40 years ago, 40 some years ago, when my dad was teaching me automotive and tuning and doing lean balancing on cars, and back then we only had, when my dad days, you had 2 gas analyzers, and then you had 3 gas analyzers, and then on automotive you had 5 gas analyzers, just like they do in furnaces. So you have your carbon monoxide, your carbon dioxide, your leftover O2, your nitrous oxides, and oh god, you could even measure sulfur oxides. And there's one other, it's not coming to my mind now. Okay, so these are all products of combustion. And back in the days of cars, and because I used to be in the smog program, I literally had to know how much exhaust gas was coming out of every car and what was its ratio of carbon monoxide, O2, and everything like that. That directly relates into working into HVAC. So if you're an automotive mechanic and you're thinking of going into HVAC, whether it's commercial, whether it's large boilers, furnaces, or residential, your knowledge of cars and doing tune-ups and adjusting the fuel mixture directly relates over into residential and commercial industry. So you can bring that knowledge over you. So like over here across the bay, we have Laney Colleges. That's one of the accredited HVAC schools in our area, and it has one of the best teaching industry and instructors who have decades of experience, who actually, some of them even own their own businesses and are instructors at night at the same time in building automation and chillers, big screw compressors and everything like that. So you go through a 5-gas or a 4-gas class on furnaces, on how to use combustion and learn about combustion and its toxins and everything like that, and how to adjust your fuel ratios and everything that when you attend school over there. So my classes I went to in automotive from nearly 40 years ago. Well, actually my dad first 40, and then like 30 years ago when I entered the automotive field, and going to the AS program for engineering for automotive, going through all the smog program and combustion analyzing directly related into commercial and residential for things like exhaust gas, and you bring it over with you. This is why automotive technicians make excellent employees to grab. If you're an owner of an HVAC business and you can snag some automotive technicians who are both drivability with electronics and computer controls, and they do back pinning, and we have map sensors, barrel sensors, you know, your pressure sensors, your transducers and everything like that. Everything that came into residential furnaces and air conditioning, we were doing all the way back in the 70s. So automotive technicians have decades more experience than the HVAC guys when it comes to computers. And excellent employees to grab. Got distracted by my phone. And so if you're an HVAC guy and you come across this, I always tell owners of HVAC shop, go out and headhunt and go steal some automotive guy who's been working for 5 or 10 years and is tired of that business, wants a change, and instead of spending 7 hours upside down under a dash to replace a heater core or an evaporator, he could be standing in front of a air handler and show them how easy this is, because the HVAC industry is dead bone easy compared to how difficult it is working on cars. That's all I got to say. I went from one topic to another, but they're all kind of interrelated. And when you exhaust the building, think of where you have a flame source that pulls in backwards and poisons everybody, because that's what was happening in this situation. All right guys, I'll see you. Bye.